last week was our second coaching call. And we said the best thing you could do is imagine what it would feel like to have a couple dozen of these floating around your marketplace by January. And, as we enter the new year, we're expecting interest rates to creep down a little bit and seller interest on capitalizing on all their equity to start to show its beautiful head again. So imagine you had a handful of these vouchers floating around your marketplace that are pretty much the barb on the hook for our realtor referral partners. And a lot of these families that are coming to us now through our alliances and our connections or our prospecting and our networking, they're coming to us first as a buyer. And then they realize, wait a minute, I can sell my house to you guys too. So the easiest job in real estate, all we do is give away money. If you don't know about the certification and the orientation and all that stuff, you might feel a little out of place today, because if you haven't been certified with the Hero Benefits Network, you don't know how the donations are curated and all that stuff. But what I want to express to you, having been a realtor since 1986 and a broker owner since the 90s, I also owned and operated a regional director role at a national franchise company. And I currently manage about 90,000 realtors in the Works Partnership Program, which is sponsored by mortgage and title companies across the country. But what I can tell you after 40 years is that, how you close down a client matters. The words that you use can make the difference between solidifying a buyer brokerage agreement or not. And when you expand the consumer's options exponentially, when you give them a picture that their options are only this big when they met you, but then much, much broader, wider, and more beautiful after they met you, that's when buyers flock and sellers list. So let's find out how much of a grant you qualify for is far more compelling than a free CMA or a recipe card with strawberry shortcake on it. So what I'm trying to say in a tongue-in-cheek manner about the history of residential real estate marketing is that a lot of your marketing in residential real estate doesn't have much what's in it for you, what's in it for me. And I think the call to action in Hero Benefits is what's in it for you, the hero, what's in it for you, the teacher, what's in it for you, the seller. So collaborating with mortgage bankers and title agents.
Unknown caller.
If you wouldn't mind, just hit mute on your screen if you wouldn't mind. But collaborating with mortgage bankers and title agencies isn't new for big brokerages, but it's fairly new for team ridges and or agents to think of their career intra-dependent with a mortgage partner that's an integral part of the sales funnel, to work with a title agency that's an integral part of the sales funnel. Now, this may not seem exciting or interesting to a 6, 10, 12, 15 deal a year real estate agent, but a real estate agent that does 100 deals a year has to have a cabinet of service providers. So then they start to run sort of a Hero Benefits division together, right? And this is not out of the ordinary for large brokerages and large teams, but it's unique for individual agents to command enough production value to warrant a collaboration with a really good mortgage banker and a really good title agency. Most of them are happy to take your referrals, but when you say the word collaborate, they leave skid marks, right? So what do you mean, co-branded on my Zillow? No, I'll see you later, buddy. But you do have an opportunity with the Hero Benefits Network to have a policies and procedures process, sort of a protocol. You have a marketing department that's behind you with Devin and Carrie and Kenny, and you have social media content that's all built for you to work together with a mortgage company and a title company loving the same audience. And this is where the four-legged stool really stands up. When you have just you screaming from the rafters that you're a realtor with Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker or ERA, I mean, you sound just like every other peacock squawking in the park. You're not any different to the end user. But when you're using hero benefits to elevate your charisma, to elevate your own credibility, to immediately build rapport with a huge audience of consumers, and to kind of upgrade your personal brand, well, we see what's working. What's working is that your title company, your mortgage banker, and you meet sort of like a mini BNI group. I don't know if you know the term Business Networking International. BNI groups won't let 2 title companies in. They only let 1 in. And they won't let 2 mortgage bankers in. They only let 1 in. And that's where the value of a BNI networking environment is so valuable to the attorney and the builder and the AC guy, because I'm the only AC guy in BNI, so I get all those referrals. Well, a mini BNI buster is just your mortgage banker and your title company. Start to think of them as resources for you to take action. And if you are a team or a broker, or you have a lot of agents, or if you have maybe a teammate, or maybe you're in a community where there's another Hero Benefits Network in another zip code, and there's another, and you want to just make some competition, we can help you with that. I think competition, belonging, and interaction goes a long way after COVID. I think having a central purpose of your sales philosophy helps a lot to create a sense of culture and a sense of purpose by saying, how many cop deals am I going to do this year? How many teacher deals am I going to do this year? How many firefighters am I going to help this year? It's different than just waiting for the phone to ring. So this is not a certification. This is not an orientation. It's a discussion about actionable opportunities. And I invite you to call me out if I don't give you any. So discuss last week's assignments and how they manifest into listings and loyal buyers. I can do that for sure because it just did for us. Russ's rant on 73-cent stamps and the handwritten notes. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes on that just to show you how we take listings. And then we're going to close out the coaching call a little after 10:30 with a calling and what you get to do, not what you got to do. We all got them. What do you got to do and what do you get to do? I get to go fishing. I got to go to work. Well, we try to change that a little bit with you guys so that you can say, I get to go to the fire station this week. I get to go to the VFW and hang out with Bill. I got a guy named Bama Bob. He's an old veteran and lives in an RV park. I still communicate with him. I went out fishing with him a bunch of times. I like the veterans. I get to hang out with veterans. I don't got to. And then anytime you want, I know I'm not well known with some of you, but I am a philanthropist. I'm a retired guy. I put 5 kids through private school and college, and I'm up in the mountains now. So if you want to text me, you might think it's funny, but I would love to hear from you. And if the text goes anywhere, we can talk on the phone about your personal career and what the heck's going on, and if you want any help. Having said that, speaking of help, I heard one time the big guy helps people who help themselves. The big guy, right? So wanting help and taking action are 2 different things, And if your coach tells you to take action and you don't take any action, there's an excuse. And if there's an excuse, we got to be in the excuse removal business. I hate to freaking say it that way, but I've been in the excuse removal business managing 1,300 realtors in my own brokerage for about 30 years. You want to follow 4x4 to gain traction. 4 packages per week to 4 different HR directors. If you don't know what the packages are, go to orientation. 2 hours of DMing and emailing to Hero HR directors. This isn't like work. Shit, you're piddling on TikTok anyway, most of these realtors, even the old ones. My mother-in-law's 90. She's on that damn thing all day. But spend 2 hours reaching out to HR directors once a week in a formal time block, because what you're essentially doing there, and I hope somebody online resonates with this, is you're building a farm area. What? But it's a free farm area. It's not a farm area where you got to spend $1 a house every month. Oh, I'm farming 1,000 houses for $1,000 a month, and I got 12 grand into this thing at the end of the year. That's not the kind of farm area this is. This is a free farm area that produces. So you have to start asking yourself, how many hero HR directors could I invite per week? How many by when? It's the secret, sexy math of the rich and famous. How many by when? Wandering generalities don't have any predetermined benchmarks. They don't have any predetermined accomplishments. They don't have any goals. They're just wandering around waiting for shit to bump into. But when you have a specific turgid desire, and that's right out of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, you start to say, how many of these HR directors could I do? Could I do 25 a week? You know? Then I suggest in a 6-hour hustle, you spend an hour cleaning up the data, adding the addresses so that when you send out mail to them or a FedEx package in the future, you've got all their contact information in one place. Just keep your data. I went on a rant last week that your data is the only freaking asset you got left in real estate. It ain't the brand, baby. It ain't your sign. It's your data. If you can manage a good database all the way up to and through your credibility with these families that know, like, and trust you, that's the gold in residential real estate, that you can take from brokerage to brokerage to brokerage, from mortgage partner to mortgage partner to mortgage partner, from title company to title company to title company, because your database is your client base. And then I like this. You may not like this, but I do this because it is social and I enjoy the social aspects of it. Maybe it's because I'm old. Delivering coupons, vouchers, letters to fire stations. I don't know whether there's any coupons or vouchers or letters at all. Well, you haven't been in orientation then. You haven't seen what the portal's like. You have a portal. It's password protected. And you have an opportunity to have pre-prepared marketing materials for VFW, schools, ambulance drivers, ER, principals. And now I'm going to do my little rant. Drunken Clam, Quahog, Rhode Island. So you see this little note on the left-hand side. This is the most rudimentary, sophomoric, kindergarten solution, and I've been using it for 40 years in residential real estate to take listings. I was taught it by a guy named Dan Kennedy, who's considered by most the foremost direct mail expert in the world. He is Dan Kennedy. It's a man. There's a lady named Danielle Kennedy who used to do direct mail in the real estate business, but she's gone, as far as I know. But Dan Kennedy taught me things about open rates that I didn't know. He taught me things about non-specific return addresses, which I did not know. In other words, a hand-addressed letter with a non-specific return address and a first-class stamp on it has a higher percentage of getting open than your freaking piece of crap Prudential real estate flyer. Dan Kennedy taught me that. And little side note here for my Ken Burns documentary fans. I watched the first episode of Leonardo about Da Vinci, the documentary on PBS. And he said Leonardo didn't know everything. He just found out everything. Oh boy, man, that's cool. I didn't know how to do direct mail, but I found out how to do direct mail. And what you do is you do a handwritten note with a non-specific return address, and it gets opened 100% of the freaking time, even during anthrax. So if you had a job and you chose your job to be a realtor, you might be retired or wealthy or independently wealthy and not need any money. But if you needed to make a living in residential real estate, you probably send out like mail and things like that. So some of my retirees and dabblers, they just wait for their friends and family to sell a house or whatever. But some of us have to actually work. So we used to do things like send out notes and say, would you like a free CMA? Right. So that's a job. And I'm going to take a moment with this. And if you have a Microsoft product or a Dell or an HP or something, you can click your screen and take a picture. If not, reach out to Devin if you like this. Now, this is a luxury market handwritten note. The average property that we're sending this to is over $1.5 million. So each response is potentially worth between $30,000 and $50,000 to us. So when you're in a luxury market, and we have examples in non-luxury too, but I wanted to show you what a realtor in Naples, Florida might do. I drove by your house on 63rd Avenue in Naples with an essential worker that is relocating to Lee County for a surgical position with Lee Memorial. Her family is in temporary housing until we can help her buy a home. If you would consider selling your home to an essential worker anytime during the next 6 to 12 months or sooner, we desperately need your help. There's this little caveat there. It says we can provide a guaranteed cash offer from our Essential Employee Relocation Program. Plus, our nonprofit partners offer up to $10,000 in relocation bonus to cover moving costs, all 100% through donations. Naples and Fort Myers are nearing crisis levels for essential employees, including doctors, surgeons, and mental health practices. And then here's the little cutie here. We broke all our properties in Lee County through Sotheby's International as our exclusive licensed fulfillment partner in Naples, Florida. Now, what that says to a Naples seller is it screams credibility, by the way. And if you don't like this letter, I'll make you a bet. Send out 400 letters. If you don't get a listing, call me. Because you're screwing it up. I would just say 100 letters, because 100 letters would probably do it for anyone on my team. But 400 letters would be at least 8 to 10 seller inbounds. And if you screwed up all 8 to 10, it's just desperate training you need. So I want to accentuate this concept that working with essential employees is more charismatic, more credible. It's more urgent. It casts a sense of urgency over the entire decision making. It's legitimatized. It is legitimate because I can curate $10,000 in relocation bonuses 100% through donations for any essential employee. We've proven that with hundreds of closed transactions, thousands really over the years. But just in our nonprofit, there's already been dozens and dozens and dozens of closed deals. And we only incorporated in March of 2024. So yes, this is already working. And these are 73-cent stamps, baby. And let's take poverty into account, man. Russ, you don't understand, man. I'm an Uber driver all day, and then I deliver pizzas at night. I don't have enough money for this. Well, I used to work with realtors like that. I worked with a realtor at the Olive Garden, bartender who was selling pot out of the back door of the Olive Garden, and he told me he kept the job because it paid benefits, but he was a realtor full time with another company. And I said, "You're an idiot." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Shave that stupid goatee and get that shirt off and look like a realtor." And he came back and he came to work for me for about 11 years. And he's one of the top listing agents in the country now. And I'm really, really proud of the help I gave to listing agents all over the country through the Works Partnership Program. I'll say this Tuesday at 10:21. If you don't want to do FedEx packages to HR directors, and you don't want to do DMs, direct messaging to HR directors, and you don't want to do emails to HR directors, and you don't want to grow a database of HR directors to farm, and you don't want to send direct mail out for sellers, or at least door knock a seller. I mean, let's say you're broke, you're an Uber driver, and you're delivering pizzas. Then door knock. I mean, just walk up to the door and say, "Hi, my name is Max. I was by here last week with an essential employee who's thinking about relocating," and have that conversation live. And if you don't have a buyer who qualifies for essential employee relocation, then you're not meeting with enough HR directors, because you would have those lures to cast out for sellers if you were doing the work that we talked about last week. So that is a fact. I'm going to wrap up my session on how long does it take to create reputational consistency. How long does it take in a farm? Most realtors say 2 years. How long before Aunt Betsy treats you like a real realtor? Some people say a year or two. How many contacts do you have to make to convert a for sale by owner? 12. Just answered that. 12 touches to a for sale by owner. And if I do 12 a week, 10 for sale by owners a week, 12 times, I end up with one listing a week. And I've done that for 40 years. So if you ever want help with for sale by owners, call me. But what would you do if you had to earn respect, admiration, appreciation, trust immediately? Well, I would probably join Hero Benefits Network because it's a catapult to respect, admiration, appreciation, trust, because you're coming in as an essential employee relocation director and a nonprofit representative rather than just a real estate agent. And then, oh, by the way, and I don't mean to be a jerk, but then they realize you're a realtor and you're not that bad a guy either. So then they say, oh, I like this guy. So I've built business plans for Hero Benefits for over 30 years. Every member of mine at my old company had a business plan. I believe in written business plans. I actually believe in source of business charting, which is what you're looking at here. If you have never had a source of business chart and you've never had a formal plan to aggressively grow production, then this stuff might be foreign to you. But if you have ever been to a Bob McKinnon event or a Brian Buffini event or a Floyd Wickman event or a Tony Robbins event, for God's sakes, you hear all the time that written goals manifest faster than thought goals. So we want to write our goals down and build a plan. And I'm pretty much closing out this coaching session based on the fact that we're giving you 6 hours of assignments a week. If that's too much, I would quit. But seriously. And you need to understand how the factors work. So you have to go to certification to understand how the heroes earn these down payment assistance and relocation grants. And my entire team is always available to you for help. And I want to extend their goodwill to you as a nonprofit. Consider them employees of yours. Consider them to be essential employees of your own. Devin is willing to talk about how to grow a database. Randy's the master of connecting with HR directors nationally. Carrie's an ops manager in residential real estate for 30 years, and I've been a broker owner for 40. So if we had anything to share with you, it would probably be useful. So, pick up the phone. I'm going to wrap up on my phone number because I would like a text or an email. You can reach me at russ@bdmx.com. Russ@bdmx.com is my day job. Business development managers on steroids. That's what that's about. bdmx.com. We do business development for realtors and mortgage bankers across the country. You can also text me on my cell phone directly. I moved out of South Florida, so my area code is 954-695-2314. And you are wearing your Hero Benefits Director hat right now. Yes, you're a realtor at Remix, you're a realtor at Keller, you're a realtor at Central Rowan, you're a realtor. But put on the hat and proudly walk as a Hero Benefits Director that handles essential employee relocation, and try that name tag on for an hour when you're visiting a fire station or visiting with the VFW or walking into an American Legion, and get to know some of these old guys, but also get to know the credit union leaders and the leaders of the firefighters, teachers, and law enforcement unions. Get to know the leaders of those HR director positions, because those are the ones that are going to catapult you into the buy-side relationships and start taking listings. Anybody have any questions before I start wrapping up today? I'm going to go back on camera in case anybody wants to chit-chat, and then I'll start wrapping up. Hang on now. Stop presenting. I'm going to need a producer. Joe Rogan's got a producer. You're not a damn producer. Hey, guys. Anybody have any questions for me? Devil's advocate, things that didn't work, anything that you want to beat up. Have you been involved with Homes for Heroes and hate it? Have you heard of it before and liked it and now don't like, anything like that you want to talk about? I've been doing this for 40 years. There ain't nothing I ain't talked about. All right, then.
Russ, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Question for you. When I go to, I've stopped in numerous fire companies and pretty many along the way. I haven't been able to find where I can log things in on, I guess I need to call Devin about that for the CRM in our system.
Oh,
The,
absolutely. Yeah, there's a place to register the heroes. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, inside my system that I can log them in. But my question is, like for school bus drivers,
Yes, sir.
school bus drivers for a public school that are not part of the school district, but it's independent transportation agency, do they qualify?
I would immediately flag the school bus driver as an essential employee. Yes.
Even if
If it's not,
even if it's not employed by the school district?
yeah, because what I found out this past month in Franklin, North Carolina, up in the Smoky Mountains, is that those linemen are pretty damn essential too. You know,
Yeah.
we lost power on 25,000 houses 5 hours, and those linemen came from Maryland and Vermont and all over the country. So, if it's not on the category list online, simply shoot Devin a text or a note. We want to be your family. We want to be as close to you as your broker owner or your team leader is. We want to be part of your life. I can tell that without reservation, anybody on this line could do 16 deals in 25 just from heroes.
And
That's
also,
four transactions per category per year. That's only one per quarter from cops. That's only one per quarter from teachers. That's only one per quarter. You guys get into these situations with sales guys, vendors. Oh, just do one deal and it pays for itself. That was my hated close in residential real estate, right? They would always say, just do one deal and it pays for it. I would say, nah, that's not what I'm looking to do, buddy. I need to do a few. So, 4 deals from teachers in 2025 is not a extraordinary goal. It's one per quarter. But when you compile it, maybe with a law enforcement appreciation program, and then you compound it with a firefighter appreciation program, each of your programs might only fire one deal a quarter. And that might not give you the excitement that it needs, but I'm telling you how I would approach it. I would approach it looking for ordinary results that are probable and likely, easy to understand. And if I like teachers, I'd start with teachers. If I like cops, I'd start with cops. And whatever one I started with, then I'd build the next one and the next one and the next one. Very, very easy to do. And I would help you till my fingers were bleeding. I promise you I would, because I really like this arena. So school bus drivers, yes. Any other questions? And now I know why nobody asked the question, because I talk too damn much.
I have one more.
Yes, sir.
What about, I'm pretty sure I know the answer. I'm kind of anal this way. So if like your local township, your township supervisors, township manager, I know they all qualify. And I'm pretty sure like the road crews, the people that work on the roads for the township, they're all included as government employees. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. And there's so many nuanced niches that we could delineate. I mean, somebody was all hot about priests, and somebody was all hot about rabbis, and we want to serve, right? And we want to love. And if they qualify as an essential worker in the hearts and minds of city management, then they certainly qualify as an essential employee of ours.